transition, which is basically the basic principle of UV visible spectroscopy. After the story of these electronic transition, I was engrossed into the story actually. Okay, let's come to the other part of the spectroscopy over here. UV visible spectroscopy. There are two different components, actually the technical terms I should call them, chromophore and auxochrome. Now these two terms, they will swipe away all the UV visible spectroscopy. Fine. How? Let's see. Chromophore. What is a chromophore? Chromophore actually is made up of two parts. The word itself is made up of two parts. Chromo means color. It comes from color. Okay. And phore means a carrier. Okay. So a chromophore, usually earlier what was it considered? The scientists used to assume earlier that any colored compound, for example, the compounds, nitrobenzene ones, okay, they usually are yellow in color. So it is said the yellow color or to that particular compound is imparted by a particular functional group, and so that functional group was labeled as a chromophore. So earlier it was a belief that any colored compounds contain a particular functional group, a specific group, which is responsible for imparting color to the molecule or to the substance, and hence it was called as a chromophore. But nowadays the latest definition of the chromophore is not limited to the colored part only. Chromophore actually is any of the isolated covalently bonded group, means any functional group which is covalently bonded to the skeletal molecule. Okay, and that functional group has a high capability of showing absorption in the UV or the visible part of the radiation, means it can undergo absorption of the radiation in the ultraviolet or the visible region of the electromagnetic radiation. Whether the color is produced or not, that is not our problem. Okay, so that particular group, it is called as a chromophore. Usually the functional groups, they are called as a chromophore, and they uh, include the nitro groups, carbonyl group, cyano group. Okay, even the double or the triple bond, we know it is considered as a functional group. So what happens actually when these functional groups are present? Why do they show absorption in the UV or the visible part of the radiation? Actually, these functional groups, if you just try to examine them carefully, by having a closer view, you see, I mentioned it is a nitro group. Okay, NO is there. Okay, CO double bond is there. Okay, carbonyl group. So what is present over here? A pi bond is present. That means the pi electrons is present. Okay, and since oxygen is there, so definitely it will be carrying the lone pair of electrons also, or the non-bonded electrons, n orbitals is also present. Okay, so a transition, namely pi pi star transition, can be possible, is possible definitely, and the n pi star transition is also possible in the molecule. Okay, so the functional group that contain the multiple bonds and are capable of absorbing the radiations, okay, in the UV or the visible region, is basically due to the pi pi star or the n pi star transitions of electrons which are taking place. Now depending upon what nature of the electrons is present in the molecule, the chromophores have been classified into two categories. First category includes all those compounds wherein the chromophore contains the pi electrons, means the pi bond is present. Okay, like for example carbon carbon double bond, carbon carbon triple bond. Okay, ethylenes and acetylenes, they come under this category because they contain pi electrons or pi bonds. Okay, so in that case wherein the chromophore contains the pi electrons, it can undergo pi pi star transition. Okay, so that is one category of chromophores. The other category of chromophores that it has been classified into is the one in which pi electrons are present there, but along with them the n electrons, that is the non-bonding electrons, are also present. For example, the CO carbonyl group, pi electrons are present and oxygen is carrying the non-bonding orbital electrons also, lone pair of electrons also. So the chromophores have been classified into two categories depending what type of electrons are present. Okay, so first is the chromophore that contains pi electrons, and the second is the chromophore that contains the pi electrons as well as the non-bonding electrons, n electrons, or the lone pair of electrons. Okay, the first category that contains only the pi electrons, obviously it is going to undergo pi pi star transition only. okay, along with sigma star if present, okay. And the one which contains both pi and electrons, it will undergo pi star as well as n pi star transitions also. For example, yeah, nitriles, carbonyls, they can undergo both n pi star as well as pi star transitions. Okay, that was a story about the chromophore. Next is the oxochrome. Oxo is actually a, let's say, a side subsidiary thing. Okay, so oxochrome is a functional group that is not itself undergoing any absorption of radiation near UV region. Okay, but when such a group is attached to a chromophore, it changes the wavelength at which the absorption occurs, or it can also change the intensity of the absorption. So either the intensity changes or the wavelength changes. Why does that change it? Because an oxochrome may be present over there with the chromophore. So that is called as oxochrome. Okay, now let's see what game these two technical terms they play in the UV visible spectroscopy. That's a very interesting part. Wavelength shift. Okay, interesting as well as important for the application part also. Okay, wavelength shift. Now, before we study what is wavelength shift, let's try to see the graph. Whenever we do any experiment of our sample, okay, we try to study the sample. We undergo, I mean, the sample is led to undergo the UV visible spectroscopy. Spectrum is obtained, and we get absorbance versus wavelength. This peak, this band is obtained. The graph is like this, like, okay, the broad hump, this kind of a graph is obtained, this kind of a spectrum is obtained. A basic question comes to my mind over here: why is this so broad? Why can't it be a very like a pointed or a sharp one? Why does that happen? We get a broader one, we get a broader graph because in UV visible spectrum, now whenever due to some reason maximum absorbance wavelength. Now, for example, the graph appears this, not this green one. What has happened over here? The lambda max has shifted towards the longer wavelength this time. Okay, so that shift in lambda max towards the increasing order, towards the increasing value of wavelength, this shift is called as red shift. Fine. Or the other word for this shift is bathochromic shift. So bathochromic shift or the red shift. Actually, what is the nature of the shift? Towards the longer wavelength. On the other hand, if the wavelength shifts towards the left side, means my lambda max is now somewhere over here instead of this place. So what is happening over here? Lambda max has decreased from its original value. Such type of shift, it is called as blue shift, also known as hypsochromic shift. So remember, if the lambda max moves towards the right, it is the left shift, means wavelength is increasing, lambda max has increased. Towards the right means lambda max has increased. And if it is moving towards the left, it is the blue shift or the hypsochromic shift. On the other side, when no change, for example, no change in lambda max takes place, but a change in intensity has occurred, like this. Lambda max is still the same, okay, but intensity has increased, means it has moved upward. It is called as hyperchromic shift. Okay, so here the lambda max is not changing, but the intensity is increasing. What do I mean when I say intensity is increasing? The absorbance is increasing. Okay, so that shift is called as hyperchromic shift. On the other hand, the just opposite to it, if the intensity has decreased, this one I'm talking about, this part, okay, this graph. So what has happened over here? Again, the lambda max remains the same as it was before, okay, but the intensity has decreased, okay. So that is called as hypochromic shift. Okay, so we have bathochromic shift towards the right, hypsochromic towards the left, upper is hypochromic, and the lower is hypochromic shift. Okay, means absorbance has decreased now. Okay, now why do these shifts occur? Let's start with the bathochromic shift, also called as red shift. Bathochromic shift actually can occur when there is a presence of oxochrome in the molecule, or it can also occur if we change the solvent. Okay, for example, the groups like hydroxyl group OCH or the methoxy group OCH3, they cause absorption of the compound at a longer wavelength. So whenever any such group is attached with the parent material or the parent molecule, the lambda max will shift. Okay, okay, other chances in, for example, specifically let's try to understand the story of the para-nitrophenol. Okay, this is para-nitrophenol, nitro group para to the position of the OH. Okay, in alkaline medium, what do we see? The lambda max has changed. What do I mean to say is, initially the lambda max was 255 nanometers, means this molecule was showing us the maximum absorbance at 255 nanometer. But when I add some alkali to the solution of para-nitrophenol, what am I doing? I'm adding an alkali, means I'm making the medium as alkaline. Simply I'm adding OH minus ions to the solution of para-nitrophenol. So what will happen? This H plus of the phenol will come out with OH minus, and oxygen will be left with its negative charge, with its electrons. Okay, so what is happening over here actually? Just have a look very carefully. Double bond, single bond, double bond, single bond, double bond, single bond, and these extra pair of electrons, a lone pair of electrons, they act as a conjugated system. Okay, so double it was here, single, double over here. What is happening in this case? In this molecule para-nitrophenol, which was not in the alkaline medium, the conjugation was up till here only. But whenever a medium is made alkaline in nature, the conjugation has increased. Why? Because of the impartition of the electrons, lone pair of electrons with the oxygen, negative charge. Okay, so this added up electrons, they extend the conjugation further, and you know, whenever the conjugation is extended, Whenever the conjugation is extended, what will happen? The lambda max will increase. Remember, conjugation increases, lambda max also increases. And when if the lambda max increases, what will happen to the energy? It will be lesser definitely. Okay, we can have another example of a phenol over here, okay, and a phenoxide over here. Okay, so you add a you have a phenol solution of phenol, okay, you add some base to it. Fine, OH minus, you are adding base to it, that means you are making the medium alkaline. What are we doing? We are actually adding OH minus ion to it. So what will those OH minus ion do? It will take out, they will abstract the H plus from the phenol. Okay, what will left behind? These electrons. Again the same story, the electrons over here on the oxygen, they have now extended the conjugation, double, single, double, single, double, single, and double over here. Earlier it was double, single, double, single, double, double, sorry, single, double, and the story ends over here. Okay, so whenever the conjugation is increasing, the lambda max increases. Often a question is asked, the lambda max for phenol is 210 nanometers, but for the phenol in alkaline medium, it doesn't show the lambda max at 210, but rather it shows the lambda max at 235 nanometers. Why is it so? Although the substance is the same. So why? Because conjugation is getting extended. So what kind of shift is that? The lambda max is increasing. It is a bathochromic or the red shift. Okay, you change the solvent, the nature changes. You change the solvent, the lambda max changes. Second is hypsochromic shift. Remember, the blue shift means towards the left we are moving from the original value. Okay, hypsochromic shift, again, why do they occur? Again, it may be a change of solvent or a presence of a group that causes the removal of conjugation. Means you decrease the conjugation of urine. Earlier we were increasing the conjugation. Alkaline medium was given to the substance, to the solution. So alkaline medium was imparting an extended conjugation to the substance. Okay, now to the molecule in fact. Okay, so that was the movement of the lambda max towards the right, that is the bathochromic shift. Now what will happen over here in the hypsochromic shift? Hypsochromic, suppose this is the aniline molecule. Fine. What do I do is I add some acid to this particular solution. That means I have acidified the medium. Okay. Now, whenever I acidify the medium, what am I doing actually? I'm adding H plus ions to the medium. When I add H plus ion to this particular aniline, what will happen? A change will occur over here. How? It will become NH2 plus. Why? Because H plus has taken the electron from here. From this nitrogen lone pair of electrons. Okay, and it becomes NH3. It's not NH2, it's NH3 over here. Yes, this one, sorry. So NH3 positive. Now let's try to look at our story. Earlier it was double, single, double, single, double, single, and these lone pair of electrons were acting as a extended conjugation. Now when I have added H plus ions to this particular solution, I've added an acid, let's say sulfuric acid or HCl. Fine, what will happen? It is now NH3 plus, anilium ion, protonated aniline also it is called. Now let's try to have a look at the conjugation. Single, double, single, double, single, double, and the story ends over here. It is 3 over here, but it was 4 over here. So extended conjugation over here in aniline as compared to the protonated aniline or anilium ion. So what are we doing? If we are moving from left to right over here in this particular reaction, we are decreasing the conjugation over here. The conjugation has decreased. So the lambda max will also change. How will it change? Conjugation is decreasing, definitely the lambda max will also decrease. Okay, so aniline and anilium ion, if we compare, anilium ion will have a lesser or a lower value of lambda max as compared to aniline. Fine. Reason you all know now, because the conjugation has decreased now. Removal of conjugation has taken place. Okay, and this type of shift in the lambda max, it is called as hypsochromic shift or the blue shift, decrease in lambda max as compared to this bathochromic shift. Okay, next, like you can see here for aniline, the value of lambda max is 235 nanometers, whereas it is 203. It has shifted to the lower side. we get two peaks over here, one at 235 and the other is at 285 in case of aniline, whereas when you acidify the medium, sorry, you get two bands again, 203 and 254. Both the cases it has decreased. Why? Because extended conjugation is not there, rather the conjugation has been removed. Okay, so the lambda max has decreased. Okay, next is hyperchromic, wherein the lambda max remains the same, and the same story is with the hypochromic shift also, wherein the lambda max is the same. But what is changing? The intensity is changing in both the cases. In hyper, the intensity was increasing, means absorbance was increasing. In hypo, the intensity was decreasing, means absorbance was decreasing. Why do that they occur? Hyperchromic shift, when the oxochrome is added to any particular molecule. Okay, actually the epsilon value changes to 750 for pyridine. It is 3560. It has increased. Epsilon value has increased. Coefficient of extinction has increased. Okay, when methyl group is added to the pyridine, it has increased over here. Okay, with a slight shift of the lambda max also. Why? Because a methyl group is added. That is why oxochrome is added over here. Okay, hypochromic shift introduction occurs when the introduction of the group occurs, like when you introduce any group to the molecule, which actually changes the geometry of the molecule. So in that case, hypochromic shift occurs, means what happens? The intensity of the absorption decreases. Okay, although lambda max remains the same in that case. Okay, so for example, we had naphthalene, and I have another one molecule for 2-methyl naphthalene. I add a methyl group over here. So if we compare the lambda max, definitely there will be a change due to the addition of this methyl group. Okay, it was 250 nanometers earlier for biphenyls. Anyways, we are not working on that part. Hypochromic shift we are studying. So what has happened? I have added a group. This group, it is not planar with the two benzene rings. So it has changed the geometry of the molecule. Now, due to the change in geometry of the molecule, that will be taken up, that will be noted, that will be known to us actually through the value of coefficient of extinction. Okay, epsilon value, it changes, it decreases. So whenever the decrease in epsilon value take place, means the intensity is decreasing or the absorbance is decreasing, and the shift, it is called as hypochromic shift. Okay, we can summarize all the points over here. The electrons in the available orbitals with the lowest energy, it is called as a ground state, and the transition occurs from the highest occupied molecular orbital level, means the molecular orbital level which is the highest in energy and it is occupied. From there it occurs. In other words, we say the outermost electrons, they undergo transition. To which state? To the lowest unoccupied molecular orbital, to the one that is nearest available to them. That is called as the LUMO, or the unoccupied lowest unoccupied molecular orbital. Okay, the change between the energy levels, definitely it is called as a transition. Transition means change literally. Okay, the excited state of the electron actually lasts for a very small time duration, which ranges from 1 to 10 nanoseconds. Because what happens when it moves to the higher energy state, that higher energy state is itself energetically unstable. So that is why the molecule is not able to stay in that high energy state for a very long time, and the extra energy is lost through the relaxation processes. Okay, UV visible wavelength has sufficient energy to undergo two types of transition. It is n pi star and pi star transition, and n pi star, right? And the energy required for n pi star transition, obviously it is lesser than the pi star transition, because n and pi star orbitals are closer to each other as compared to pi star transition. The lower the energy, longer the wavelength, fine. And we know that a chromophore is any isolated covalently bonded group which shows characteristic absorption in the UV visible part of the radiation, although color may be produced or may not be produced as well. That's all for the UV visible spectroscopy as of now. Have a great day.